King's Secret.
I know, my dear, I couldn't believe it for the life of me at first. The facade these nobles put on, atrocious, shakes me to the core. And everyone keeps going on as everything is alright, as nothing's ever happened, as if no major change has occurred. Let me tell you, my confidant, the things I've witnessed, if everyone were to find out, there would be an uprising that would turn this kingdom upside down. No, please don't say that. I've kept my mouth shut long enough, my friend. These secrets, they are consuming me, slowly eating at me, feeding on me every God-given day, as if I'm some piece of meat on a butcher's hook, awaiting to be prepped and served on a banquet table, just to be savagely demolished by mannerless guests. And believe me when I say it, as I don't say it just in jest, the people of the court are disappearing. Granted, most of them are buffoons, and I'm glad to never see them again. But what if I am next? I fear for my life, my friend. It is way too precious to me, and yet no one is willing to admit it, to shed light on these dark events going on inside the towering walls of the castle, to announce it to the rest of the kingdom. Secrets, lies, deception. I can't take it any longer. Oh no, nonsense, my fellow companion. I'm far from drunk. You have to trust me. I can drink many men under the table. Ale was never an enemy of mine. Here, in this lovely tavern, around the hard-working countrymen, servants to the almighty king, one can't help but to partake in a few sips of the beverage of truth, to keep this nice conversation of ours flowing, to smooth out my words, spruce them up a tiny bit. So please, focus on what I'm telling you, unless you willingly want to continue living a lie. Then, my friend, I can't extend a helping hand, as I refuse to be taken for a fool. Well, technically, I am one by profession, a jester, the greatest entertainer this kingdom has ever seen, the storyteller like no other. But you already know that, my confidant. I don't have to preach to the choir. But all of these countless lies, I faced one too many misfortunes in my time to just stand for it and let it continue, corrupting the kingdom, spoiling the most blissful place we have here. Don't be timid. Have another one yourself. It's my treat after all. You have to be respectful and accept it, my dear. Let us raise our goblets and toast to the king's health. Although I do come from humble beginnings, please don't look down on me for that, my friend. I've earned my right to be here. However, I haven't always been this well-respected figure in court, admired by many, loved by more. Yes, my dear, I know it's hard to believe it, but I wasn't born a noble, just a peasant boy from a poor, God-forsaken village, struck by a horrendous disease that ravaged through and through and claimed many of us. And unlike the other villages, blaming God about their fate and writhen in the same place of misfortune without even a thought, let alone an action of taking a single step towards the change, I decided to leave, take the so-called fate in my own hands, turn misfortune to fortune. And one day, without making any grand announcements or saying heartfelt farewells, I set on a journey, my dear, looking for a better place, a better life, something I truly deserved. Make no mistake, my friend, it was a long journey, a tiresome and trying one. At times I thought, this is the end, but it never was. As I sit here in this lovely tavern, around my fellow good men of the kingdom, telling you my story. On my journey, I had to fend off animals, bandits, evil spirits, you name it. I had to use every trick I had up my sleeve to survive, to see another day, to shut my eyes and still open them as the sun would rise and shine its blessing of light upon me and fill me with hope. I had to walk, run, crawl, traverse lengthy distances, praying to find a destination, hoping my expedition would bring me to where I would belong. I had to face numerous difficulties and adversities on the way, but my 2 feet, against all the odds thrown against me, catapulted with an attempt to scare me away, still have brought me to a castle. This very massive of the castle, the stone giant fortress sitting atop a mountain. I hope, my dear, you are familiar with its history, how a glorious King Julius and his knight cavalry took it from under despicable rule in a triumphant battle a few years prior to my arrival. The bard raged for days, But our king and his loyal men came out victorious in the end. The old foul king was dethroned as King Julius held an execution in public square for everyone to see, slaying his counterpart with his own hands, wielding a witty sword of justice, and with a clean blow, guided by God, lopping off defeated usurper's odious head. From the first day of his coronation, King Julius has been a just and mighty ruler, fair to every person in his kingdom. May the God bestow all the blessings upon him. My luck had me walking a town on the day of the summer solstice, when our almighty king was holding a grand celebration. The wards were all drunk, and I was able to sneak past them into the castle undetected, navigate my way all the way into the main hall, and see for myself the lavishness of the feast. Flags and banners draping from the walls, with coats of arms representing the families of the court, filled the room, illuminated by the multitude of torches and candles spread throughout the great hall of tremendous size, filled by nobles with jubilation radiating from their faces, wise lords and fair ladies of the court joined the king at the imperious dining table, the length of a posture extending from one end of the banquet hall to the other. The table was full of exquisite dishes I've never had the pleasure to lay my eyes on before. I could picture the guests devouring with gusto and elegance. Sitting at the very table were lords and ladies of astonishing beauty, decorated in their most splendid costumes, with extraordinary airs about them. I wanted nothing more but to be part of this close-knit group, to join the royal court and sit beside them, shoulder to shoulder, exchanging pleasantries and partaking in the banquet. King Julius delivered an uplifting speech, thanking everyone in attendance, and the feast commenced. Please, my dear, you seem to be losing interest. Make sure you're paying attention to everything I have to say. Not just anyone gets to hear a story from the greatest jester firsthand. Be grateful you're in the right place and at the right time to witness this grandeur. Later that night, a glorious king wanted some entertainment and invited in the common folk to perform in front of the court, giving all talented wretches a chance to be a part of the celebration. That day, my friend, luck seemed to be on my side, and I decided to try my odds too. After a tiresome and challenging journey of mine, I felt myself worthy of becoming one to join this higher society, and this was my moment to seize. One by one, the folk took the stage to showcase their talent and entertain the crowd. A bard sang a vibrant song and played his lute. A dancer contorted her body and juggled apples with her feet. A farmer brought his horse and had it do different kinds of tricks, following its master's commands. Make no mistake, the people of the court were immersed, but they wanted more. They needed something new and exhilarating, something they haven't seen before until, my dear, I approached the stage. Back then I knew I was special, but I wasn't exactly sure what that unique flair of mine was. I decided to tell a story, as I've had plenty from my lonesome journey, but to my surprise, as I began recounting the events, instead of listening in awe with mouths agape, from being absolutely stunned by how masterful my storytelling was, my dear, they laughed at my story, cackled uncontrollably while holding their abdomens and slamming their fists on the table. At first, I was taken aback. I felt the laughing stock, as if they were howling at my pain and misery, chuckling at my expense, as if I was a butt of a joke, making an ass out of myself for everyone to see. Their reaction felt as a personal attack on my character, my friend. It felt wretched. It put me in a foul mood, and I decided to return the favor and strike back. Conveying this unpleasant feeling, I started making fun of every person in attendance, targeting their outfits, going on about their appearances, their faces, you name it. The roar of the crowd seemed to only increase in value. All of these nobles, my dear, they were loving every second of it. Every verbal attack I threw their way, they perceived as another joke of mine. And then before long, I realized, this is it, my dear listener. This is my forte, my special something. I realized my potential, understood my noble purpose. to become a jokesmith, to brighten up people's day and make everyone laugh, to make them forget about anything outside of that moment of pure joy, nothing but unruly laughter, to turn despair into comedy, to use my power in order to put a smile on everyone's face. King Julius personally addressed me, my attentive companion, giving his highest praise and asking me to stay at the castle and claim the title of a court jester to entertain people on festive nights. And since then, the benevolent king decided to hold a feast at the end of every week and have all the entertainers gather and put on a performance. But deep down, my friend, we know I was meant to be the main act. The one and only good people of the court wanted to see bring the castle down, have everyone trying their best not to fall off their seats, while laughter is pouring out of their stomachs, booming through the kingdom's walls, and myself, the best jester there is or could ever be, standing in front of them in the middle of the banquet's whole stage, basking in the glory, cheered on for my special talent, admired by the crowd.
King's Secret.